What's up, everybody? Rabid Hedgehog here with Indian of Oklahoma City. Another used bike review. Another fun used bike that I just don't get a chance to do. 1200 Bonneville Bobber. I have not got to do any of the liquid-cooled Bonnevilles yet, except for the Street Cup, and that was the smaller engine. So this is the first time I get to actually get the full-size 1200 going on here. I'm excited, actually. And what do you know? It's the Bobber. I still like the way that they're going with these old school looking, almost carbureted like look to them. Wire wheels, chain drive, of course, on these. So classic everything going on. Really well put together. Looks just wonderful, actually. I like the goldened out pipes. That way they don't blue out whenever you get the exhaust on them. Of course, you can see ABS sensors on it. Pretty slick looking exhaust system on it. Go ahead and crawl up on this thing. Now, this bike does have quite a few things going on with it, despite the fact it looks nice and simple. Our key is down here. Again, in operation, you can see, of course, fuel. You also have your indication. You have your current mode. I'm in road mode right now. Tachometer, speed, ABS sensors, service engine, oil. It looks like traction control systems on and off. And let's see here, tire pressure monitoring. Yeah, that's what that light is right there. General alarm, cruise control, a few different things in there. Oil light. Doesn't necessarily have cruise control, but the stack is probably used for more than one bike. Of course, your turn signals, your bright, and your neutral. Here's your engine cutoff switch through here, and also start. Hazard here. There's your mode. You hold that. You can see rain, road, rain, road. There's your changeover. Now it's in rain. Now it's in road. We're going to go with road this whole time. Ignore those whistles in the background. Welcome to Oklahoma on noon. All right, we have your tachometer. There's your traction controls. There's your current odometer, trip 2, MPG, average MPG, current till empty, clock, back tachometer. Brights are press on, press off, adjustable clutch lever, adjustable brake lever. All pretty simple there. I don't think traction control needs to be on. We need to make sure this bike is experienced the way bikes should be. Fully ridden. So we're going to get in road mode, no traction control. The only thing is, I believe that light gets to stay on the whole time. Let's start her up. All right, got to pull the clutch in to start. Pretty good sound to it, so let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road and ride. These mirrors, of course, are those nice, long, always out of the way kind of style. Clutch is going to be cable actuated. There's your friction zone, so you go 1, 2, 2.5, 3 is about our catch zone. And the clutch is really light on this thing as well. Like I said, it's kind of weird that you turn the traction control off and you're going to be tortured with the traction control light the whole time. A little bit of a disappointment there, but you know, it is what it is kind of deal, and you're not always staring at it, even though it's staring back at you for trying to be reckless. All right. All right, so as you can see, the braking went really smooth, and we're being fed by one disc brake up front, one in the rear, of course, ABS equipped. Now this bike is one of those raw rides. It's something that's pretty simple with a lot of technology in the middle of it. At least you could turn it off and defeat some of it. Oh, this thing just sounds so pleasant. Boy, you get some feels out of this one getting up there in the tachometer range. Let's go ahead and find out where we are here. Only running in second gear there, getting up to our highway speed. Tachometer's at 4550, 70 miles an hour in third gear. Let's go ahead and head up there to the sixth gear. All right, that takes her down to 3150. Burbles right along. In fact, it's pretty smooth right now. When it gets up in the higher elevation, you know you got a machine under you, that's for sure. Get some good vibration through everything. Foot pegs, hands, mirrors, teeth. No big deal. As you can see, the fuel light just came on. Not too worried about it. It said 20 miles. Now this one has a monoshock right under the seat. You hear a little bit of a punch in the voice right there. But overall though, still got a nice fork up there, pretty good size one, traditional, with that monoshock rear right under the seat. And despite our broken roads here doing its best effort, this bike is really well planted. Now I have to say the handlebars are actually more narrow than I was anticipating. Got up on it, expected it to be a little bit wider, and this one's a little bit more narrow, so there's going to be a little bit of heaviness to the steering feel. Not too bad though. I mean, you get a pretty good press. I mean, if you're leaning, this bike is so light, you can use your body. As you can see, body is able to flick this bike around just fine. But steering input is a little heavier. A little bit more wider bar would have helped negate some of that, but to be honest, that would have taken away a lot of the look of this bike. And it's still, after all, Bonneville. It's still, after all, a technical British standard cruiser. So it doesn't need to really be all that sporting. Now, it does have, of course, this nice smaller tank, but you can see it has nice cutouts for the legs. My knees are coming up about almost to the top of the tank there. Good inserts there. Big pedal box for my large, 15 feet, 14 feet, depending on the day. So my feet are nice and comfy down there on those pegs, not hitting anything that's in the way. Now overall though, this is a very standard riding position, but a little bit more sporting because you are leaning down a little bit more towards your wrist. If the handlebars were about 1.5 inches taller, it would be a true standard. So this one's a little bit more toward the sporting side, despite being a bobber, which is kind of fun. So the way I'm sitting right now is that my feet come up right under the knee, so my knees come up, goes straight down to the feet, slightly arched over, so my shoulders are about midway between where my back is placed on the seat and where my knees are. And you can see I kind of have a straight downward fall, little bit of bend in my elbows to the handlebar. Like I said, it's kind of a little bit more sporting position than I was anticipating. Sometimes I kind of see that as more of a, you know, bobber being kind of a cruiser type, but this is more of that low down bobber type. That is no big deal on that. I have to say the back suspension feels a little floaty because it's directly connected to the seat, but it's nothing to complain about. It's just a note of how it feels. You definitely feel the road a little bit differently with the way it's mounted. This engine puts out a sweet song. I hope my microphone picked that up and did that justice, because this engine, I don't know if this is stock exhaust or not, being that it's a used bike, but I do believe it is stock. And if this is stock, this is a fantastic sounding stock bike. Absolutely fantastic. It's just comfortable, man. This is one of those bikes you can just take out, bomb around town all day long, and the seat's really comfortable. The suspension, you can tell, is a little choppy,
Probably because I need to do some preload to anticipate my weight. I weigh 209 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall, 32-inch inseam, longer trunk, shorter arms, kind of oddly proportioned. But it just rides really nice. Super stable, as you can tell, just tracks really well. No movement, no weird wallowing in the handlebar or anything, no chassis distortions that are moving me around, nothing. Feels really good. So it just burbles right along. It sounds so good too. This is a nice pure ride with electronic nannies to be in the way somewhat. This clutch, man, is butter. And the transmission as well is spot on. It's not notching any way. It just nice little taps there, and it just shifts right down. And engine braking is very good. So if you like to use compression braking versus using main brake, you get that wonderful, wonderful report. Get down to first gear here, don't even tap the main brakes. Into the turn and pull them out. Woo! 1200 produces quite a bit more power than the last Triumph I had. See, I owned a Triumph America Bonneville. So it was that old 955 they used to have versus this 1200, and this 1200 rocks. I love the way this power is delivered. I love the kind of old school feel with that newer power, because it has a really low end roll off, and it just rolls off the low end really well, and that bike just rips and snorts and sounds amazing while doing it. And the seat isn't bad at all. Yeah, I would like it to be a little bit more forward, but because it drops off toward my backside versus my groin area, it doesn't really bother me that bad. It more just cups the rear end and holds it there, which is not a bad deal. There are way worse seats out there than this. But everything integrates really well. All right, let's do some main brake here. Like I said, this is a single front disc, ABS equipped. Yeah, it's got really good braking. I would say the brake pressure is firm. Rear is really good. Front needs a little bit more bite. It's actually a little soft. So for main braking, yes, it pulls this bike down pretty well, but this is a light machine. It doesn't really need all the extra stuff, but I think they need to program a little bit more bite in that front. And that way it has a little bit more stopping power, a little bit more positive feel, because that was a little bit off. Let's see, nobody's behind me here. You can see that front end dives pretty good, but it's taking a while to get that to trail down. So yeah, it's not gonna brake the fastest, that's for sure. It's not a performance braking system. It's good enough to get this bike to the ground. And I think it needs just a smidge more bite to be perfect. But to be honest, it gives it an old school feel. It reminds me of my CX500's braking. So braking from 41 years ago matched by Triumph today, but it does have ABS, and you can't get that locking feel. And I did put that pretty hard on there, and I did not feel ABS or hear the clicking or anything from the ABS units kicking in, so I didn't even get it down there. So they're there somewhere. I just hadn't found them yet. But maybe they're not on due to traction control. I would assume it's still on though. Turning, like I said, it is a fairly heavy turning bike. I was not expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting it to be more of a positive feel. But these handlebars being a little bit more narrow, it's definitely a little bit lazier than I anticipated. Because it's light, it's frisky, engine is amazing, the power is great, the way it feels banging through the gears is wonderful. The chassis itself is super light. Like I said, look at this lean. You get this lean going, don't even put anything into the handlebars. You get this thing to follow you really well. So you do get a lot of good positive feedback from the motorcycle and the chassis itself. It's just when you're trying to do handlebar turns, there's a little bit of hesitation and some laziness, so you have to kind of put it all together. So if you're one of those riders that really likes to experience a motorcycle and you're getting into the turns and you're leaning and you're trying to put knees down and stuff, this is a bike that you're going to wrestle for it, and it's going to reward you for it too, because the grip is amazing on this thing. So the bike rides really, really well. I know in Oklahoma it's really hard to show you guys how well this bike will end up being able to turn, but I could tell you it's worth the wrestling effort of getting this front end to go over, because once you do, the grip is incredible, and it has a really, really high point of ground clearance too, so it doesn't really touch the ground. God, this thing sounds so good. All right. Now that we've been out here for a little bit, got the heat going, I can say that right now, sitting still, especially if you got your knees against the tank, you'll feel a little heat coming off over to the shin over here. Left side, about the same as well. So not really too bad on the heat though. This thing has a really tall first gear. Not a bad problem though to have. Let them get a little bit ahead here. A lot of bit ahead. I gotta go because somebody's coming. All right, let's take this tall first gear out for a spin here. Get about 55 miles an hour in first gear. You feel every bit of it though. Like I said though, that gear is nice and tall for a bike like this. That is super tall. Making it to 55, boy, it vibrates. You can hear things too. It's like, it's got something vibrating somewhere. But I like the character. Boy, I like the character. And like I said, it got up there super quick too. This engine has really good power. It really pulls from that low end. It's got good mid-range too. It just pulled really, really well. It gives up a little bit in the high end though. But, oh well. There's a lot more fun in the low and the mid than there is in the high, right? Well, unless you're racing on a track. You're just cruising on this thing. You know, this suspension really isn't bad at all. I really am enjoying the way the seat is, and there's no passenger seat or anything like that. So you're just kind of in this seat, you're cupped in there, and you really don't actually have much movement. Like, you don't slide around much in it at all. It's like a perfect little, like, holds you in there, and it's comfortable. It's a really nicely padded seat. And like I said, the suspension, it does make for a little bit of an interesting ride though. Yeah, this thing, downshift is great. I just popped over a big bump there and it didn't even throw me off the seat. We got another big bump coming too, like this one right here. Nothing. I like nothing. What's this one gonna do? Yep. There's a little off the seat action. But it's not bad. Not bad at all. All right, this thing's gonna shine because it's gonna be able to get right back up to speed here without an issue. Man, this thing is just lovely. I like me a bobber. Yeah, the Triumph Bobber definitely is a bike I would totally recommend. Totally recommend. This is a bike that, yeah, it is a little bit smaller on the fuel tank, so you might not have the longest of range trips on it, and you probably don't want to go more than a couple hours on it at a time, and due to the way the seat's starting to feel now. But at least for running around town and bobbing around town and going to the store back and forth, meeting your friends, enjoying a ride around the city and around the, you know, around the surrounding area, maybe into the mountains if you got some that's right there next to you, especially if you live in Colorado, you lucky people. This bike is definitely a bike that you could go out there and have some fun, and you could do it and be comfortable with it, and it's going to have a lot of fun in those turns too, in those mountain roads and everything. Like I said, this bike will reward you for wrestling it because it's got all the grip, it's all there. You just have to be able to get over that little bit. You just need a little bit more leverage, so you just got to put your body into it. So it rewards you for being a rider. It doesn't reward you for just trying to do handlebar turns. It rewards you for leaning in and actually riding this machine the way it's supposed to be ridden. That's the hallmark of a good bike. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog once again riding out of Indian of OKC with a lovely other used bike that they got, Triumph Bonneville Bobber 1200. First time on one of these since my 955 Triumph America. This engine has come a long way. This is a fantastic engine. Chassis is fantastic. Suspension's really good on it. Could use a little bit more, a little bit more adjustment to it, but because I'm a little heavier, I didn't do the preloads. No preload on the front, but the front has never been a problem. It's just been the back a little wallowy. Other than that, this bike's peachy. Maybe a little bit more bite in that front brake. If there's a little bit more bite in the front brake, I would think that this bike would be a well-rounded, near perfect, just standard bike to go riding around on. Definitely has an old school charm and feel to it. Feel those vibrations through the bike. Whenever you're just rolling around at this speed, everything's clean. You get up in speed though, you start seeing those mirrors start to hop around. You start feeling that engine start to work. It reminds you of a good old time of old, and it just rides really, really well. So overall, Triumph Bonneville Bobber, definitely a bike I would be interested in if I was in the market. Definitely a bike I recommend to you guys out there as riders. So if you're looking for something, skip that Yamaha Bolt, find one of these bad boys and enjoy the ride. So at any rate, keep that shiny side up, folks. Once again, visit Indian of Oklahoma City if you're in the Oklahoma City Metro. Even if you're not, check them out. I'll put them in the description below. That way you can find the bikes that they have. They have some of the coolest used bikes. They usually get some pretty cool things in, and they let me take them for a ride. That's the even better part, right? Not paid by them, not officially with them in any way, just madman with an opinion. So keep that shiny side up, folks, and we'll catch you on the next review.
What's up, everybody? This is the Rabid Hedgehog. We once again want to thank you for watching our videos. Please like, share, subscribe today, and if you like what you see, mash that notification button so that way you get our latest videos and notifications live and on the spot. We also want to thank our dealership partners, Indian of Oklahoma City, House of Kawasaki, and Motiv Works Moto Guzzi, who is also our motorcycle mechanic. We want to thank them for allowing us to ride their rides. We are not paid in by any way by any manufacturer or dealer. We just get to be mad men and women with opinions. We also want to reach out to our sponsors and thank them. We have Law Tigers Motorcycle Lawyers. These motorcycle lawyers are mostly nationwide and can be reached 24/7 at lawtigers.com or 1-888-868-0208. We also want to thank our newest sponsor for gear and the things that you see us wearing, AGVSportUSA. They are out of AGVSportUSA.com in Flower Mound, Texas. We also want to thank Doug Crawford and AMS Oil for protecting our machines with the latest in lubrication technologies. He can be found at usasynthetics.com or 405-388-6170. And also for Derek Enloe and Associates Insurance Company, he can be found at 405-261-1010. Once again, everybody, keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.